Well, the West Coast Sevens wraps up its season this coming weekend with a 2-day tournament in Oceanside, California. So we've got 3 tournaments that are going on. They've done a great job, put a lot of effort and investment into the tournament to get Sevens going back again on the West Coast in the fall. It's worked out pretty well. I think that we'll see more teams embrace that. And as I always say, you keep going back and having the same thing at the same time, then people will start to respond. What have we seen so far? Well, top of the heap is Cal. Cal is the class of the competition so far. Why? Well, let's look at 3 things that are enormously important to Cal's success. Number 1, communication. You will not observe a louder team than Cal. They are always talking to each other. They're telling players that they're in support. They're telling players when they should go down and set the ruck, or whether maybe they should just keep running because that's the best option.
We try to work on our world-class comms, and I think that's a big part. Just having clear direction and just communication across the team. So
they're doing that all the time, much more than most teams do. Number 2, restarts. Restarts are super important in Sevens because if you win one restart, one of your own kickoffs, and you retain that, that is a potential 14-point swing in the game. You think about the idea that every possession is a potential try, then you win a possession away from them in a situation where you know where the ball's going, you know how it's going to be set up. All of those things are under your control.
You see at the, especially at the international level, how much restarts play a factor in games. I think there's one tournament in France actually, they made the final purely off winning the most amount of restarts. Right. So I think that's a huge part of the game. The aerial game's huge.
The other thing about restarts, of course, if you make restart errors, that's a huge problem. And I think that too many teams make restart errors in which they kick the ball out in the full, or more likely, they're trying to get that perfect 10.2 meter kick and it doesn't go full 10 meters. Well, not only are you giving up a chance to get the ball back, you're giving up a free kick in the middle of the field. You've got to backpedal 10 meters. So really have to make sure that your restarts are not producing free kicks for the other team. Cal trains their restarts. They've got guys who can kick, and they've got guys who can go up in the air. That's hugely important, of course. They've got the horses. And that's really number 3. They do have the horses. They have players who understand their role and stay in their role, but at the same time, they've got big guys who can run and fast guys who can be physical, and they have more than one, probably 3 players on their first side and a couple of guys on their second side who can drop that restart, drop kick on a dime. We saw the player of the tournament the last time there in Stanford was Oliver Teague, and he was there winning restarts. That was the number 1 thing he was doing. Going up, he'd win the ball, and either he'd go and score, or he'd go down, place the ball, they'd win that ruck, they'd zip it out to the other side, and they'd probably score. At which point, Teague just stands up and goes, okay, we scored, trots back to midfield, gets ready for the next one. That wasn't that easy all the time, but they can make it that easy.
It looks decent on the field, but there's obviously a lot of training. Coach Billups, Coach Clark do a great job of instilling some discipline within the team, and it's sometimes there's times to give yourself a go, and then there's always opportunities for that. But if we can stick to our structure until things open up, it'll just work out for us in the end.
Teams that have showed well, other than that, I think we saw flashes from San Diego. UCLA, when I was out there, they had a younger team because they just played a 15s game. They're bouncing sort of between 15s and 7s. So I think that they'll put a more experienced team out there, and that'll be a good challenge. I thought Grand Canyon showed a lot, and they went to the final in Stanford. We know that Cal's second team was actually the second best team, but they decided not to play each other in the final, so they put somebody else in there, and that was Grand Canyon. That was fair. I think Grand Canyon was the next best team. A lot of talent there, working well as a team. They need a little height. They need somebody to get up there in the air and win those restarts, but they have some skills there. I think Cal right now are the class of the West Coast Sevens, but that doesn't mean it's not worth watching for the other teams that are going in there, because there are talent that's coming through there. It's a lot of fun to watch. It'll be on TVX on YouTube, so have a look.